The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you're encouraged to post your comments whether you agree with me or not. I even allowed a comment to go through today that accused me of being a Nazi for what I'm about to propose to you today. How he got from me being a Hitler-type person, from what I wrote to me being a Hitler-type person is way beyond me. But anyway, and thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio. Well, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. Welcome to the show. Going to talk today, as advertised and promised, about President Obama's budget. His address to the nation on the budget was held today. Yes, every day there's another address from the president. The address today was 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but I digress. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone that today is the anniversary of the first attack on the World Trade Center in New York City. It was an attack that was designed to bring down the North Tower with an explosion of a van bomb in the parking lot underneath the tower. February 16th, 1993, 6 people died, 1,042 were injured. That was the first attack, the precursor to the September 11th, 2001 attacks, and the families of the victims remain in our thoughts and prayers today. Didn't want to be remiss by not mentioning that. We give a lot of attention, and justifiably so, to the anniversary of September the 11th, but we need to remember as well that February 6th, why did I say February 16th, by the way? I'm sorry, today's the 26th. It's February 26th, 1993. Okay, welcome to the show. I want to talk to you about the president's budget. And I don't want to go into the specifics of the budget so much. I want to talk about a little tete-a-tete I had with one of our callers yesterday. I asked the question, how will we pay for what the president outlined in his economic recovery plan address to the joint session of Congress and the nation earlier this week? How? Someone said, well, he's going to have to raise taxes, Gary. And I replied, and actually I was partially correct, that he didn't say anything about raising taxes for the bulk of us. And that's true, by the way. A very small portion of the country's taxes would be raised, about 2.6% of the people, I think. If I recall correctly, I don't have my notes in front of me on it. But the point is, he wants to reduce taxes, not by a lot, but some, for the rest of us, so that our paychecks will be a little bit more robust beginning in April, while increasing taxes to people making over $250,000 a year. Now, look, the current tax structure probably disproportionately taxes the middle class. And the rich in this nation should pay their fair share as well. I'm not saying they ought not to. But the fact of the matter is, his attempts to raise $1 trillion mainly on the back of the rich is unfair. Now, I will say, I stand to gain by what he is planning on doing, because I stand to get more money because I make less than $250,000 a year. That's until Nice Girl buys Paltalk. She's promised me a nice raise. But until then, his plan doesn't hurt me at all. It helps me a little bit. But, you know, Americans believe in fairness. And the tax structure is not particularly a fair tax structure. So my proposal to the president, and it's not anything new, It's not anything particularly unique, but because he is proposing this shift, it's a good time to revisit the idea of a federal sales tax. I say, and if you agree with me, please say so, and if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear from you as well. I say eliminate the income tax, which, by the way, allows for the government to treat us in a punitive manner. Instead, create a federal sales tax. Now, there would still be some withholdings, obviously, from our paychecks for various different things, including state and local taxes, probably Social Security taxes. But if you're making, say, $50,000 a year, you'd be bringing home close to that, maybe $45,000 a year. Clearly, a lot more than you're taking home now under the current tax structure. Now you have more money in your pocket. What are you going to do with that money? Well, you can save it, which is fine, but eventually that money is going to find its way out into the economy. Most people, when they're given a sizable amount of money, let's say your income as a result of this change, if it doesn't double your actual income, let's say it increases by 40% or 45%. What would you do with that money? Would you remodel your house? Would you buy a house? Would you buy a nice car? Would you go on a vacation? Whatever you did at that moment, that would be taxed by the federal government. Now, what does this do to the rich? Well, people who have more money to spend more money. If they spend more money, they're taxed more than you and I are because they're spending the money. Therefore, this consumption tax would result in additional monies into the federal coffers. Probably, I have been told by economists and by accountants, I don't know, if we did this, the government would actually be taking in more money than it does under the income tax. Now, for those of you who are so upset about what you believe is a drain on the economy as a result of the illegal immigration in the United States, people who are not paying taxes but are enjoying the services of this country. Hey, if I come across the border from Mexico and take a job cutting somebody's lawn or tending somebody's garden or washing some restaurant's dishes, it doesn't matter any longer, because if I take that money and I go spend it on a meal, when I spend it on the meal, what will happen? Taxes will be taken out of that purchase. So whether we have a lot of money or a little money, we would be taxed the same percentage. If you have a lot of money, you're going to spend more money, you'll be taxed higher. If you have less money, you're going to spend less money, and you'll be taxed less. And by the way, a lot of people come to the United States now, and we welcome you from Europe and elsewhere, where your currency is stronger than the U.S. dollar, so you're getting a bigger bang for your euro when you come here. That's great. But if we add to that sales tax, a federal sales tax,